Hi, I'm very excited to show off to you what my achievements so far about a custom field renderer. Let's dive in. I have a content and this is sample application. Let's create a new entry. Let's type in Boston and the address of it. And the lat long of it automatically filled out the moment you type in the location. The airport code going to be Boston. The description going to be something here. Let's say that, and I go back here, paste in here. Also, I want to find more images about this location, so I'm gonna find somewhere in Bing or in Unsplash, for example. Then I'm gonna choose one image, and then I want to extract all these images. I'm gonna copy this URL and go in here. I have a custom control in here that do just so. So load is automatically load all those images we saw earlier. Now in here we do have an option to remove and choose the right cover photo, or this one. Let's make something beautiful like that, and you hit save. Now whenever you're trying to remove everything in here and then you want to reload this photo, you just hit reload and automatically reload all the photo again. But since you don't want to do it, you just cancel it if you want, and then you go back in here, you have the photos. Now you can create a new field in here by add a new field in here. Notice that we cannot assign the custom renderer in this interface, which is in the future approach that I'm gonna do somewhere in here with the tab. But you can assign the custom renderer through coding. So you can go back into Visual Studio Code, go to the field that you just created or manually created, and then add the custom field renderer in it. Assign the custom field renderer to it. So let's say a country right here, short text, finished, save. Now when you go to content management, you have a country field down here. Let's fill it out, USA. That's it. Now let's go to GraphQL playground. Let's say this ID is 7, and I'm going to change this one to 7, and I want all this information to go here. So you're gonna press, it's automatically show you all the images and also other information available you requested. Now let's dive into creating those custom field renderers. First, we're going to copy this command line and create the application. The project name is going to be custom field renderers, and let us install. The applications has been successfully created. CD into this folders and opens Visual Studio Code. Now we're going to use the inline terminal from Visual Studio Code, and we're going to install a design system provided by Strapi so that we can have our component look consistency throughout the app. Yarn add that package. Great. Now let's check to see if our install works perfectly. Yarn develop. Okay, Let's register the first user. Voila, we are here. Second, let's create a sample collection. And we're gonna add the first text field, name, title. Now, let's head back to the Visual Studio Code and take a look at the SRC folder and then application, and we have a sample collection right here. Let's focus on this JSON file only, and we have something here, title. Here, we are going to design a configuration object for field renderer that won't interrupt the normal operation of Strapi, and give it any type. In this case, any custom field configuration should be nested in this object to avoid polluting the design of Strapi. Now, let's create the plugin to handle that custom field renderer. And we're going to add this piece of code into this file to activate our plugins. Strapi just generate a folder under plugins, my custom fields, and in there we have, these are the places we're going to work with. Developing plugins, we need to launch our app with extra flags. Watch admin, and let's log in. Noticing that we have an entry right here, we don't want that, so we go back to our code, go to that folder, and then go to the index file right here and remove that links, and we remove this too. We go back to, now it's gone. Now let's develop our first component. So we're going to go to the folder down here and add a new folder called my first field. In here we're going to add an index file. Now here's our React.js applications. I have already components I'm going to put in here. When this field being rendered, Strapi will provide you this information in the props. And here's all the most important for that I can see. The name is the name of the field, the value, the current value if existed. The attribute which contain our configuration include our custom field configuration object. OnChange is a function when something being changed, you should call this function to pass back the value so that application know that something is being changed. And here is our configuration of the custom field config. Now placeholders, label, hint, we're trying to put into the text box. On change, something changed the text box, we're trying to create the target. The target being the field name, and the value is a new value, and we call this function. So this function pass back the value to the application, and they're trying to save it. Now let's also add a button here. Now that our components is already done, let's head back to the index file to register this component as a custom renderer. We can go back to this index file. First, we're going to import. Second, we're going to add, register this one. The component is first. Now that our view is done, we're going to change the platform source code to understand what we are registering. So we're going to go to Node Modules, looking for Strapi package. Under that, we're going to admins, SRC, content manager, components, and look for inputs, and here it is. In this input file, we have something called field schema. The field schema will contain that configuration object, the custom one that we assign to it. So go down to the line. We're going to go down all the way, look for this line, and this is the line we're going to change. And here's a new line. We're going to call schema custom field config dot field render or input type. So what this one means that they're trying to look for this one first. If it's not there, it default back to the original input type, which is a string or long text. The problem is if any field that doesn't have this object, it's going to be undefined and it's going to be an error. So we're going to modify this line a little bit. So it's going to default back to the empty object, and dot field render will be undefined. It will default back to here. So that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cancel this one. We're going to yarn build. Now we are done building. So we're going to launch this app, yarn develop, to test it out. It doesn't work. Why? Let's go back to our thing. Because we have the wrong format. It's supposed to be in this format. There's another object in here. Name value is to be this. Actually, this one. That's it. Now trying again. Cool. Save. Done. Now let's see if interfering at new text view address. Finished. Save. We can go back to content management. Click on that one. Hello. The address. Voila. Yeah. Great. We have something working here. Very good. Let's talk about Docker and release. So whenever you're trying to release to somewhere or put into a Docker or a CI/CD process, the moment you try to say yarn install, the new version coming in and override that code. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a script in our project, and we're going to create a script inside package.json, and after the yarn install, we should run post install that script to put back in the code, and then build and then run. Since I have a script, so I'm going to create for now. I'm going to create a folder called scripts, and under here I'm going to create something called index.js, and I'm going to paste the code I have, that one. And also I'm going to create something called enable custom field renderer file, enable custom field renderer.js, and I'm going to paste that file in there, and this file is responsible for replacing that in there. And then we're going to go to the package.json and add a new script in there called rebuild. Now the moment we have the rebuild already, we want to add to these things. So whenever you do develop, say yarn rebuild first, and then yarn rebuild, or even this yarn rebuild, and that's it. Now let's try it again. Say yarn develop. You will see something run, say enable custom field renderer enable. So it's automatically enabled that one. And we go into the application. In this case it is 1237 admin. There you go, it's still there. Hello world. The end. Oh, one last thing. We don't have to create every plugin for every field. We just can create one plugin and go ahead and add more components into here. Let's say my second field, and expose it like the way how you do on the first field. That's it.